Welcome back, and thank you so much for listening to the introductory welcome video that went through the syllabus pretty briefly. So thank you for taking the time to kind of read through the syllabus more carefully, especially in those sections that describe some of the policies about plagiarism and withdrawals. Please click on our units folder. I'm going to be opening one unit every week. This is not a self-paced class because we are actually we're collaborating with each other. We're going to be drafting with each other. And so you can't kind of finish up 8 weeks in like the first week. We're going to do 1 week at a time so that we have time to respond and react and grow together as a group. So Unit 1, please click on Unit 1 and welcome very much to our first time together. I'm really excited about our first week because the first week is where we get to actually learn a little bit more about each other, get to talk to each other, get to kind of learn about what we're up to. The one thing I'd like you to work on for this week, actually there's 2 assignments. Typically you'll have one composition corner project, and then you'll have maybe the draft or the final draft of the other sort of main project that we'll be working on of the three sort of main projects this semester. This week, I'm actually splitting up our composition corner project for 25 points with the collaborative reading for 25 points. So this week, you'll be earning up to 50 points for 2 small and not too terribly time-consuming projects. I'd also like to point out under our units folders every week you'll see that I put the course objectives at the very top because I want us to keep in mind that everything that we're doing in this class should follow one of these course objectives outlined here. And by the end of our 8 weeks we should have kind of addressed each and every one of those course objectives fully. I'll also post our videos here so that you can learn about what you're going to be doing this week in Unit 1, and I explain in detail how to complete these assignments successfully and to earn you full points. In our composition corner, I'm going to read and write and look forward to kind of having you stretch your reading and composition skills. It's here to help us learn from one another in a shared collaborative space. And so to post any of our assignments for our collaborative read or for our composition corner, you're actually going to just click here on this bold underlined. Any of the projects that you'll be working on, especially posting in your ePortfolio from the Google document, you'll link to this discussion board post back in Blackboard, just because Blackboard's kind of limited in terms of how you can make or even create an ePortfolio. So I'll show you how to do that in a moment. But what I'd like you to do this week is to really just start by creating an ePortfolio. An ePortfolio is just an electronic place for you to house some of your writing, your ideas, but you can also add pictures, voice recordings. It allows you kind of greater flexibility in the kinds of media that you can include in your writing. And so what I'd like you to do is after you've created your Google account, I'd like you to go to Google Sites and create a new Google website. When I click on Google Sites, you get to a page here, and you can title your very first page, which is just going to be your About Me page or your introductory page, whatever you want to name it. And it's going to be a chance for you, it's going to be kind of like the landing page for all of your peers to just kind of learn a little bit more about you, who you are, what you like to do, and perhaps even what you look like if you'd like to include a representative image. It doesn't have to be of you, but if you'd like to include a picture of you, that would be wonderful. Please make sure you can choose any design template you want, but your introduction should include the following on this About Me page. A short paragraph introducing yourself and any other relevant pictures of you or anything else that would help us better connect to you. And I'd also like you to write a short note about a goal you have for yourself this semester. And you can feel free to drive, to kind of think about any of the goals here that are listed in our course objectives, or it could be a personal goal and something that you have begun maybe in English 1101 and want to continue sharpening in English 1102. I want to caution you that the spell check in Google ePortfolios or Google websites does not work so well, so I would recommend that if you're composing these paragraphs, you maybe do so in a Google Doc or a Word document and kind of spell check them and just, look carefully at the way that you're writing your language before you post to these ePortfolios. Here's a step-by-step explanation of how to actually start creating your site with specific instructions. So you can feel free to pause this welcome video, this Unit 1 video, and read through these steps very carefully. I explain how you click publish so that other people can actually see your site, and how you can actually get the link after you click publish that you're going to share with us so that we can click on your link and come, be directed to your page. After you do achieve your link, after you've kind of created your page, it's how you want it, it looks the way you want it, think about the theme, think about the composition. We're going to be adding pages to this website, so if you want it to be consistent in terms of, you know, using the same style, that would be really good. I would recommend that. But after you click publish, you'll get a link. And that URL is something that you're going to have to bring back into Blackboard and share with us here by clicking on this Unit 1 Composition Corner title. After you click on this to turn it in, you'll click on Create Thread. And all you have to do, the subject could be your name, About Me page. And I'm only going to ask that you paste the link directly here, and you'll click Submit, the bottom right corner. After you've submitted, you'll be able to see, this is a forum, a discussion forum, you'll see that there'll be other students that have also posted. And so by Friday, what I would like you to do is to look at just 5 other student posts and respond to them, react to them, see if there's any connections that you have. You can do more than 5, but I want to make sure that you're at least reaching out to initially, 5 students in our class. So just to review, your first assignment is to begin creating the first page of your e-portfolio, which is a Google site. And that Google site, it doesn't have to be a Google site. If you prefer a different kind of format, a different platform, feel free. But I would like you to just share the link to everyone in our discussion board and allow for a discussion to begin about, who you are, what you like to do, and just become familiar with each other. I'm going to ask, I have an extra credit opportunity for you guys later on that asks for you to collect images from each of the students so that we can create a banner at the top of our Blackboard landing page. But again, please try to get this portfolio done by Wednesday, post your link by Wednesday, and then by Friday, respond to at least 5 other students. And I always kind of remind you about where to do these things here and here. And then in my grade book, I also have put the due dates there. So you should maybe be getting some reminders that way too. If you scroll down, there's only one other thing I'd like you to do this week, and this has a little bit more to do with thinking about composing, reading, and writing. So as we read and write in this class, I want us to think about how we read and write critically, as our texts especially are increasingly made electronic or digitized. Does that impact the way we read? Does that impact the way we write? And lots of people have written about this very question, and Nicholas Carr and Marianne Wolf are just a few of this huge cohort who are thinking about the way technology impacts our thinking, impacts our writing, impacts our reading, our communication skills. So what exactly do I want you to read about this week? Well, using our free online textbook, I might be switching between textbooks too, because why just have one? I have a set of readings. It looks like a lot of readings, but what I've done is this is actually from a chapter called Chapter 1, and I've actually just picked out some small sections. I don't need you to read the whole thing. I'd want you to just kind of direct you to different sections within this textbook to kind of make the most of your time. So for example, if I had you read Chapter 1 Critical Reading, you would be reading all of this right here. But rather what I've done is I've just kind of linked for you a specific section. For example, what expectations should you have for critical reading? And that should direct you right to this page here. And so this is the section I'd like you to read for that one. I'd also like you to read a little bit about, what is critical reading? Why do we read critically? And how do we do it? What does that look like? What does critical reading look like? And for most of you, I'm sure this is very much a review, but I just wanted to make sure that we all had that kind of orientation at the beginning of our class. This section is really important too. While you read, what should you be doing while you read? Well, if you're reading a book, it's easy to kind of take a pencil and mark it. But if you're reading online, what does that look like? And so I wanted us to think about that. How do we communicate? How do we think carefully and read carefully online? So this week, after you've kind of reviewed just what is critical reading, I'd like you to experiment by reading an actual short essay, which is really entertaining. I want us to think about, how do we annotate texts online? How can we engage with them? Feel free to print these readings out, but you can also read them online easily if you have like a big enough screen and it's comfortable for you to do so. How can you underline or highlight or mark sections of a text online? You can also leave comments and replies. If we're reading online, I make many of my readings as Google Documents, and so that's another feature that I think is really kind of an advantage of reading online. You can use symbols to represent your thoughts. Asterisks or stars might go next to an important sentence or idea, etc. So please read through this list of all the things that you could do to kind of help you think critically and read carefully through a text. To test out some of these ideas and some of these ways of reading, I want us to start our class by reading a very short essay called Meditation on My Hometown. And again, we're going to be reading a selection of essays that draw from a range of place-based observations, because our goal in this class is to really help improve our own hometown communities. Where is a place in our community that we can reach out that needs improvement or enhancement? And so we're going to be starting off with Heather Fitzgerald's essay. Please click here to access the reading. I've made this reading a Google Doc, and I've left you a couple comments here already from you'll see from February. I left those comments, but as you're reading through this essay, I want you to see how well we can read online, how carefully we can read online, especially if we can read together. Feel free to highlight passages. Feel free to add comments by highlighting a section and right-clicking and adding a comment. Feel free to reply to other people's comments. When you click on a comment that's already existing, you'll have the option to reply or add others with an @ There are lots of different features in Google Docs that you can experiment with, and so I encourage you to just try out, what is it like to read online, especially reading something that's a little bit longer. So there's 8 total pages for this reading, but I hope you enjoy it. Heather Fitzgerald, she lives in Burlington, Vermont with her husband and son. She teaches field ecology and works as a freelance naturalist. One of the things I want you to notice about this essay, though, is how her attitude sort of shifts as she begins the essay about her community. And sort of the beginning, the middle, and the end, it's sort of a different approach as she gets through her essay. She kind of works through what she likes about her community, what she detests about her community, and finally, sort of what she misses about her community. As we begin to read through this essay, I give you some questions. Again, please think about how Fitzgerald describes her Plano community. With satisfaction, with disappointment, with detachment, with detest. When Fitzgerald returns to her hometown after leaving it behind for college, she realizes that she chose to see in her Plano community landscape was not all there was to see. And so how do we see our communities, and how are we blinded to some things, and how are some things very apparent to us? And how does that shift over time and with different interactions? So all I'm asking you to do by Friday then is to read carefully, review critical reading, practice some critical reading tips and tricks and annotation strategies with this essay here by Helen Fitzgerald. And then by Friday, I want you to just highlight a passage that identifies Fitzgerald's attitudes towards her Plano community. How does that attitude impact how she sees this community? And respond to one other peer by clicking the comment function to just at least one other student. So it'll be mostly just reading through, reading carefully through this essay, but then by Friday, making sure to highlight one passage and comment and respond to another peer about the same reading. I hope this provides you a nice collaborative space and sort of helps us build community over the course of the next 8 weeks. I want to thank you so much for joining our class. I'm very happy that you're here, and I look forward to working with you and helping you grow, and you'll be helping me grow as well, as a reader, as a writer, as someone thinking about our communities here. It's a really rewarding experience for me. Thanks again for listening. And I will be responding to you in your discussion boards, looking at your e-portfolios, and then looking at your kind of comments in our shared Google document throughout the week. Please reach out if you have any questions. Thanks so much, and welcome to English 1102.